Hey, welcome to TheTomsters Show. So I'm recording this Monday, June 15th. June 15th, meaning just a couple days ago, the NBA Finals ended, which was a bummer the way that it ended for me living now in San Antonio, Texas. The San Antonio Spurs lost in 5 games to the New York Knicks. The first time the Knicks have won an NBA championship in 53 years. I'm going to be honest. As much attention as the Knicks get, and no surprise, they are the original New York franchise. I hear about them every year. Is this the year? Is this the year? Is this the year? They are the Dallas Cowboys, in my opinion, of the NBA, and they never won. So as much attention as they would receive before the season, they would always, well, not always, but a lot of times get big stars to go because who doesn't want to live in New York? They just never won. So I come to believe that I would never see them win. Yet here they are, the city of champions, New York. So congrats to them. Congrats to them. In the process of the NBA Finals, I decided, I don't even know the motivations. Most of my motivations are just for fun. So that's probably what it was. I made a video pretending like I had been given the script of what the NBA Finals was going to turn out after 2 games of the finals, and it was the Knicks were up 2-0. So I made a video quickly, made it, edited it, and posted it all within, 30 minutes from start to finish. And I said the Spurs will win the next one, the Knicks will win the one after that, and then the Spurs will win 3 in a row and win the finals. And I'm surprised I got one prediction correct. I got 2 of them. And then it ended there. The Spurs did win the game I said that they would. The Knicks would win that next game. But the first of 3 in a row, the Spurs never got. And so the Knicks went ahead and won the championship. And I'm not sharing this with you to tout my poor prediction skills, but that video I made got a lot of attention on Instagram and TikTok. And every so often I'll have a video that pops off, and there are some fun notifications that I get. And I understand how quickly a feed goes and how easy a boop boop is to like a video. So I don't pretend that these names that I see are spending a ton of time on my video, but even a little bit of time, I get excited. One name that I saw that I was excited about was Jean-Baptiste. Fantastic piano player, Grammy winner. Liked that video. I took a screenshot. I have a little album in my photos of people that I'm like, oh, they like my thing. And that notification went there immediately, because he's funny, very talented, and I was very excited to see that. Another one that I liked and was excited about was a guy named Jeremiah, who was a contestant on season 7 of Love Island USA. And that's going to work as our segue today, because today I'm talking about Love Island USA. Jeremiah was a contestant. There's a current season right now. Last summer, he was on that season. He's a Spurs fan, I think, on some level. No matter the reason, he liked it. And I was like, wait a minute, it's Jeremiah. It's Jeremiah. Jeremiah became famous, became known to the world because he was a contestant on Love Island USA. Today we're talking about Love Island USA and how it is, in my opinion, the sociological Hunger Games. And I'm going to talk about that. And then at the end, I guess we can, answer the question, is that okay? But before we get there, let's break it on down. What is Love Island USA? Love Island USA is a competition and dating show that began in the UK, I believe, and rose in popularity. And as they often do, if something not American becomes popular, they bring it on over to the United States. So it's been going for a couple summers. There's a new season every summer. So this is season 8 currently. We're in the midst of it. So this would be that 8th summer in a row where we've had a Love Island. It takes place on a island in Fiji, whether it's the island of Fiji or a smaller one off the coast, I don't know. But it's in Fiji, and it takes place in a villa, this fancy looking place. And they plop these humans in there. The show begins with, I think, 8 total competitors. That could be the wrong number, but somewhere around 8. And the goal of the show, if you're on the show, is to be a part of the winning couple, which is the couple, a man and a woman, at least so far, that is voted to be the winners of the show. And then when you win, you get $100,000 and true love. That's the premise of the show. And it's months long. And it sounds like maybe The Bachelor. Or, obviously, Love Island has not created either competition shows or dating shows, but it does have a unique dynamic. So much of its dynamic, to me, resembles that of The Hunger Games. The Suzanne Collins, post-apocalyptic, young adult, or I don't know, is it a YA? I don't know. Anyways, that book series. And there are obvious differences. We'll talk about those. But as someone who went to college for communication, I went to college and got a degree in communication with a journalism emphasis because I wanted to be a sports journalist or someone doing exactly what I'm doing right now, yapping for a long time. And would love to have this be my full-time job. And this will be a cool clip to show when that happens. But that's why I went and got my degree in communication. What I did not expect and was so elated to come across was the science behind communication, the art behind communication, the studies, the theories, things that I just had never even conceptualized, but absolutely put into practice. Was taught from that lens and that framing. And so when I watch reality TV now, like post graduating college a number of years ago, it is not just entertainment, though it is. There is absolutely a part of me that is locked in on the socialization of it all and the sociology of it all and the communication theories of it all. And I get locked in. I'm watching these conversations and thinking, oh my goodness, this and that and what and that, whatever. And so I have found that sentiment to be rather popular among those who have gone to school with to study things like communication or anthropology or sociology or psychology. That reality TV, the relationship with it does evolve into just pure entertainment, pure, just something to watch or listen to or whatever. And it becomes like you're a scientist a bit, a pseudoscientist studying the actions and behaviors of these human beings that you're watching as a fellow human being. It's fascinating, in my opinion. And I hope you think so too, because that's what we're talking about. The sociological Hunger Games is what I call Love Island for a number of reasons. Four specifically. But before I get into those 4, let's talk about the obvious differences, okay? I know that these are going to be obvious, but I just want to get them out there between the Hunger Games and Love Island, okay? It's not a perfect one-for-one because on Love Island, number one biggest difference, nobody's getting murdered, which is fantastic news. Okay, no one's getting murdered. Are there plenty of feelings getting hurt? Yes. Are their reputations being harmed? Absolutely. No murder. And who's in charge of Love Island, who produces it, who bankrolls it? It's not the government like it is the Hunger Games relationship with the government. Those in those book series, it is a major corporation being NBC. So, still powers that be, but not the government like it is in the books Okay, now that we have our major differences, we've identified them and called them out. Here are some similarities. Here are some similarities where this is going to become clear. You know what? I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to give it away. But I got my list here. I'll refer to this just so I can be keeping up with my list here. But the Hunger Games in the series, The Hunger Games. The Hunger Games is a competition between... Yeah, I guess I should explain. I keep talking about the Hunger Games. What if you don't know what that is? The Hunger Games is an event within this book series where 12 different... And I might get some terminologies wrong for the true fans of the Hunger Games, so I apologized in advance. But 12 nations are each required to send a child, that's a boy, and a child, that's a girl, so 2 children, to an arena. So 24 contestants in total, where there's one winner. And when I mean winner, I mean survivor. Everyone else dies, and they kill each other. And it's live streamed, and those who are at home are watching, and that's pretty much it. It is ruthless. It is disgusting, obviously. But the powers that be, the government, wealthy people, see it as a game, a spectacle, a rite of passage, kind of, it turns into, because it's been going on for so many years at the point when we are plopped into the storyline of Katniss and whatnot. So that's what the Hunger Games is this tournament, or not tournament, this game of... It's the most intense game of, like, tag of all time, where the objective is to not get tagged, which is to not get murdered. And so how does that compare to this Love Island USA production? Well, here are my opinions. Number 1, unique to Love Island compared to other reality TV shows is that it is much more in real time. The time between shooting an episode to the episode being plopped into the audience's faces is a day. And there are 5 episodes a week on this show. Popular reality shows like, competitive shows, competition shows, dating shows like The Bachelor, like Survivor, like American Idol, The Voice. Some, I guess those last 2 have some like literal live finales and whatnot, but the likes of Survivor and The Bachelor, they are happening once a week. They are happening without any impact from the outside world, those outside of the competition. There is no involvement from those who are watchers to those who are participating in the show. And I'll get to that in just a moment, how that's different with Love Island. But the production, the creation of episodes, the number of episodes a week, the volume is so much higher with Love Island USA. The difference is with the Hunger Games, it's happening in real time. It's a live stream. You can see this like control center where they've got all the camera angles and everything, and it is being streamed in real time. So like literal real time, live streaming is the Hunger Games. The step beneath it would be this calendar of production that Love Island is on, which is a day after. And it's such a unique viewing experience because we're used to, oh, this took place last fall. This took place 6 months ago when we watch episode 1 of a show. And this took place, oh, look, that was around Christmas time. I can see Christmas trees. I'm viewing this in April. So clearly that was months ago. But not with this show. This was 2 days ago. This was a day ago. This was very, very recent. And that experience as the viewer is a unique one. And what I think it does is create so much more. I mean, it clearly creates so much more content. There's so much more film. There's so much more recording and recorded. And so we have so much more time with these contestants than we do with even a lead on The Bachelor or any of the 30 individuals that go on looking for love on a show like that, or with the people who are on Survivor or any other reality TV show, Real Housewives, Traders, whatever it may be. It is so, we see so much more of these people on this show than any other show because of how often the show is putting out episodes. And it's clearly working. Every season is breaking records for viewership. So the ability to see these people more and more and more and more and more is more akin to the live streaming of the Hunger Games, the access to these individuals who are being recorded, who have cameras on them, and we're watching their lives play out, much more akin to that access that the Hunger Games provides for its people of Pan Am than The Bachelor does, or any other type of reality show that is currently out there on the market. So the amount of coverage we see and how quickly that coverage goes from being filmed to being aired is unlike any other show right now, at least a very, very popular show. Next is a big one that is comparable between The Hunger Games and Love Island USA, and it is producer manipulation. And manipulation from the get-go can have, so bad stuff. Not necessarily bad. Manipulation of a thing isn't always bad. Some of these I do think are more bad than good. But just the ability that the producers have of making changes and how quickly they can. And we see, again, because we have so much more tape, more video, more access, we're seeing more reactions and more fallout from these producer decisions than we typically do. And so in Love Island, what does that look like? In Love Island, that looks like introducing a new person to the villa. All right. Typically, there's an even number of boys and girls, and every so often, at random, they'll introduce a new bombshell, is what they call these individuals. And they're not wrong about that. Only hot people can go on this show. Okay. And that's a conversation for a different episode at a different time. But they'll bring in new people. And it's always interesting when they bring in new people. And if you can clock this, it's typically one of two scenarios. One, there's a couple that is on the fringes where maybe public opinion is much more in favor of one person in that couple than the other. And so there's this sentiment of, man, if only this person had another person that they could couple up with. We really don't like their current partner, and we want them to be with someone else, because this is also important to know at different points. If you're single, you don't have a partnership, you can be up for elimination and you're out of there. Okay? You can be kicked off this island. You can be kicked out of this villa at any time. If you're not in a couple. If you're in a couple, you're safe. If you're in a couple, you're safe. And so being in a couple, that's goal number one. You want to be safe. And again, at the end of the show, the premise of the show is to be in a couple that people like so much that they want to choose you to receive $100,000. So being in a couple, that is goal number one. And so if there is a person in a couple where the person themselves is really liked, but their partner is not, that'll be a time. Oh, randomly it happened right now? What are the odds that a new bombshell comes in? And it creates some tension between that partnership. And it's like, oh, yay, finally, that person has somebody. Or bombshells will come in when everybody's seemingly doing absolutely fine. They are coupled up, they are coupled up, they are coupled up, they are coupled up, and everyone seems pretty happy. So let's bring in a new bombshell to shake things up. And whenever that happens, whenever it's that scenario, that's when I'm like, this is the Hunger Games. Because in the Hunger Games, they are battling in this. So in the Love Island, they're in this specific villa in Fiji. In the Hunger Games, they're in this big dome of an arena, and it's futuristic. Okay, it's a futuristic, post-apocalyptic time. So they're in this big dome where the boards, light boards or whatever at the on the ceiling, on the walls or whatever, could be manipulated to look like clouds or whatever. So it looks like they're just outside in the forest and these different places. But what the game maker can do, who's like the executive producer, I guess you could call them, of the Hunger Games, is just make decisions like, let's make it rain over here. Let's create a tornado over here. Let's make some chaos over here. And they'll do that when everybody's just kind of sitting still. Because the action, what people are there for, is to watch these children kill each other. And so that's, we got to keep people, focused. We got to keep the thing. We got to, get these groups that are hiding from each other closer together. Let's mess things up a little bit. Let's encourage these young folks to go closer to each other and create some conflict. Let's create some conflict. Because you know what gets views? Conflict. That's true in the Hunger Games. That's true in real life. That is very true in Love Island. So they'll introduce bombshells to create conflict, especially when these couples are seemingly fine. Because you find out real quick, are they really fine? Or when someone comes in, is that going to change some dynamics? And because what's at risk is not just a chance at $100,000, but I'm kind of vibing with this person, and maybe I see a life with them outside the villa. And you hear all these classic terms the more and more you watch this show. But the readiness of producers and eagerness, and frankly, as their role, is to keep things interesting. If everyone was fine, even for a 5-week or a 5-episode stretch for 1 week, no, that would be so much less exciting of a watch. There would be less engagement about the show on social media. There would be less people tuning in. They know what the viewers want. And it's going to be at the cost of the contestants on the show. Because although the show cannot be the show without the contestants, the show isn't for the contestants. At the end of the day, it's for the audience. And at the even further end of the day, it's for NBC and raking in money. But they don't make the decisions on the show to benefit the people on the show. They do it to benefit the viewers of the show. And that's the same exact equation for the Hunger Games. Of course they're not causing a random thunderstorm over here, or like a herd of monkeys that are eager to rip off your face over there for the contestants. It's to get the viewers all up and excited, to get them tuning in. I'm sure in the Hunger Games world, if they had iPhones or just smartphones, new notification, thunderstorm approaching, I gotta go check that out right now, kind of a thing, And so it, like, to me, it just reminds you when things like that happen, when they bring in a new bombshell that interrupts the peace. Anytime they do anything to interrupt the peace, it's like these contestants really are pawns for our entertainment. And it doesn't feel great when viewing things through that lens. Other things that producers will do on the show, and we saw this on, I guess, the most recent episode that I've seen, which would be Sunday, June 14th, they'll do these challenges where they really push the boundaries of normal couple behavior, where these there are dynamics outside of challenges where they're just living in this villa together, just lounging, playing volleyball in the pool, whatever. And the relationship dynamics are, I'm partnered with you, I like you, I have feelings towards you. And then you go to the challenge, and they're like, okay, a lot of times, not every challenge, but a lot of times, it's like, okay, we're gonna swap partners in some physical regard. And those are, it's not just a physical challenge, but it's also an emotional and mental challenge for those involved. And sometimes people are just, oh yeah, it's just a challenge. A challenge is what it is. Sometimes it really hurts feelings. That's another thing that's introduced. That's not a necessary thing, but that creates conflict. That creates excitement for the viewers. But what they will also do is force the contestants to ask and answer really loaded questions about one another. And this is what we saw yesterday. And this was a very, something about just communication as well that I was just so locked in. But there was a couple that had just completed a challenge. And at the end of the challenge, they have to answer a question. And that question was written by a producer, read by a guest host for this challenge. And it had to do something about, who within this group is maybe limited by their current situation. I think that was kind of the premise of the question. I did not take notes on what the question was specifically, but it's something about kind of limited by their situation, or someone that could be doing more outside of their relationship that they're currently in, their partnership. And the person answering the question, this British man named Zach, pointed to one of his friends and to the guy in the most seemingly stable relationship, and said, KC. I think KC could be doing more. He expressed to me that he thought this person over here was attractive, but he never pursued her, saying something along the lines of, I know what I have right now is really good, so I don't know if it's worth the hassle of exploring things if what I have now I like. And just that question, posing that, the producer's writing it, knowing that it's going to cause drama, could be low grade, could be high grade, and they got the highest of the grades of drama because KC is partnered up with Anaya. They've been partnered up since day one, and now all of a sudden, this really awkward, energized question of commitment and desire is answered in a way that she does not like. It hurts her feelings. There's harm done by the content of that answer. And so after the challenge, they go back to the villa, and this is where I start locking in, because her body language is, I'm mad. KC's body language is, I'm feeling normal, I'm doing my thing. And then they talk initially, and he's like, hey, what's up? And she's acting different, and he can pick up that something's wrong. And he's like, what's wrong? And she's like, well, let's just go upstairs. And he's like, okay. And normally they hold hands, and she doesn't want to hold his hand. He's like, why don't you want to hold my hand? She said, I'll hold your hand upstairs. And they go to this room, and she opens up about how, hey, I didn't like that answer to the question. What was he talking about? And then KC is like, oh my gosh, I mean, that's not what he answered it the way that he did. I can't control what he says, but this is what I'm telling you. And he was being a little more sassy than I would have preferred, if I'm being honest. But no one asked me, but this is my podcast, so I'll share my opinion there. But at the same time, we go over, and now the cameras are on Zach, and he's like, I feel bad. I can tell that my answer upset her, and I didn't mean to, but I live on this principle of, like, don't lie. So, like, I was asked the question, I answered the question. And I feel like if I had said anything else about anybody else, that would have been lying. So I answered it on principle. And his partner's like, I mean, you did what you had to do. Who else were you going to choose? And they're, like, justifying his answer, and he's trying to kind of console himself about how he feels bad that he made someone else feel bad, but he's justifying it. And at least for now, we haven't seen any communication from him to Anaya and being like, "Hey, my bad." So whatever. But to me, I was just like, "Oh my goodness, we're seeing it in real time, communication happening, and she's feeling a certain type of way. How is he reacting? Are they getting the message? Is it clear? Will it be clear? Are they sharing everything? Because we can see more. We see cameras here, 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 here. Of course, contestants, they aren't getting access, at least not yet, to recordings of anything. So we know more, some situational irony. We know more than the contestants know, because we can see a conversation over here. They can leave that conversation, have a conversation over here. They say, "Hey, did you talk to that person over there?" They say no, but we know that they did. Like that kind of situation, or that kind of context we have that they don't have, which again is giving surveillance and maybe some more Big Brother type stuff, which I know is another show that I maybe would be very much interested in, but I've never locked into. But and obviously the concept of Big Brother with 1984 and everything. But producers do the things that they do, the bombshells, the loaded questions, and this next thing I was going to bring up, which is these dumpings off the island, which is, it's a funny word. I'm not going to lie, it's a funny word. But when someone gets eliminated, they've been dumped from the island. And this happens when there's an odd number. So you know that if there are 4 girls and 5 boys, and the girls are going to be the ones picking who they want to partner with, and if you're not picked, you're out of there. You're dumped. And sometimes those will happen just randomly. It'll just happen. They'll have this kind of normal night. Their normal night routine is dressing up a little bit more than they normally do. Normally they're just in a swimsuit. So at night they're wearing pants, and a shirt or whatever. And then sometimes the host will just come in and be like, "Hey, to the fire pit now." And then someone's just eliminated. And that plays at the heartstrings. People feel bad. Oh, my decision is sending you home. So now you are out of a chance at $100,000 and true love. What does that put on my shoulders? What kind of responsibility do I feel? People are consoling, "Hey, you did what you had to do. Someone had to go home tonight. I know it sucks, this and that." And again, just observing it. It's like, okay, we just saw a situation where someone was put into a position that was, a little railway ethic question, a little bit of, okay, if I choose this, then this person will get her. If I choose that, this person will get her. I got to weigh this option. And we're just witnessing it. We're just sitting there like, oh my gosh. Oh, wow. This is fascinating. And it really is fascinating, especially because, again, I feel like these shows could be just played in college classes about sociology and different styles of communication. And it just acts as this odd experiment that we're all very much into, according to the ratings and the numbers of viewers and those participating in the show. And by those, I mean the audience, which brings me to my third connection, which is audience participation, both in the Hunger Games and in Love Island. In quick review, number 1, happening in real time. Hunger Games is a live stream. Love Island USA, not quite that yet. Maybe we get there, but filmed one day, episode out the next day. Quicker turnaround time than any other reality TV program out there. Number 2, the producer manipulation. Just evident and on purpose and expected and done for the viewers. Producer manipulation, again, never to benefit those actually participating in the show, but it's for us. It's for us watching. For the Hunger Games, in with a Love Island. And third, audience participation. In the Hunger Games, there aren't people going into the dome, helping, joining an army kind of a thing. But what they can do is sponsor a particular contestant, spend money on sending supplies to give advantages to particular players. And so when you're watching the Hunger Games, the way that it's reported on, there's like a ESPN of Hunger Games. There are commentators on what's happening, and storylines are built, and storylines are presented even before the Hunger Games. A love story over in this nation, a story of I don't know, family connection. Maybe this person's dad was in the Hunger Games and died, and so he's coming to this Hunger Games to fight on behalf of his dad in his honor or something. I don't know, but they have these storylines and they garner interest, and the audience kind of, depending on their reaction to these storylines, will, in essence, affect what's going on. And the decision makers will pay attention to audience reaction. So there's real audience participation in the fact that you can pay extra money if you really like someone to have sent from the heavens, like this little beep beep, like little if you've ever been to like a sporting event, sometimes they've got like a random blimp up there that'll just drop like free tickets. Sometimes it drops free hot dogs. Be on the lookout for a glizzy alert. But it's kind of like that. They just randomly will drop like, oh wow, like I got stung by a bunch of bees. I've been sent a balm that will heal these bee stings. And someone paid for this because they really like me. And Love Island, the audience participation typically shows up in one of two ways. There's an app that hopefully won't crash anymore. It did the first time we were asked to use it this season, a couple days ago. But after the episode aired, they said, okay, America, now it's up to you. There are 3 new people that have been introduced, 3 new bombshells. Pick who they are going to be partnered up with. And you're choosing from people who are already partnered up. So there are 3 people who are single. You're going to put them into relationships, break up 3 relationships, and have 3 new people single. America, it's up to you. Again, this is not done to help out those in the show. Okay, this is all for us. Us viewing, us watching. Because oftentimes, these people who are in partnerships are vibing. They're having a great time. And then all of a sudden, the host comes and says, America voted, you two no longer together. You go over there, you're with them now, you come up here, and now we got to vote. And someone's got to go home. Again, conflict, drama. That's what's enjoyed. That's what gets views. That's how people get paid. That's why these shows keep popping up. And season 1 turns into 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and now season number 8. Another thing that is new to this season, at least new to me, that I'm aware of now that is very, very, very similar to the Hunger Games, is that in the Hunger Games, it is very clear that a big draw to have this event happen and to be interested in the event is that you can bet on who you think is going to win. You can bet on who you think is going to survive. And if you listen to my last episode of the TheTomsters Show, if you haven't, you should. What are you doing? But I talked all about sports betting and how I think the rise of it is an overall very big negative. And what have they just recently introduced? Betting on this show. You can bet daily, in real time, who's going to stay, who's going to be coupled with who's going to be the winning couple, who's going to be here till the very end, who's going to be in the challenge next and lose, and who's going to do. You can bet on all of that now. All of that now. So not only is there audience participation affecting the show with these votes of who's going to be coupled up with whom, and not only are there real-time votes on who's going to be eliminated this week, and you get to choose just by pressing a button. You can dramatically affect someone's life now and future with a little of a button. But on the outside, you can bet on who you think is going to win too. So people are making and losing money, companies, individual bettors, on the results of the show. That's insane to me. Absolutely absurd to me. But that is like a 1-for-1 exact connection between the Hunger Games and the sociological Hunger Games, that being Love Island USA. And the fourth comparison I want to make is this. The winners of the show were rewarded handsomely. And that's not unique to Love Island, that the winner of the show gets paid a bunch of money or is now in the social eye. But what is unique, again, is the access that we have to these folks compared to those that we watch and win Survivor, those that we watch and win American Idol. We are basically spending the entire summer, nearly every day, with these people, spending our time observing these people, but they have no connection with us. And they don't have their phones. They don't have connection with anything outside of their little perimeter of the villa. And so there are cameras on these people when they get their phones back and they see all the new followers that they have on Instagram, all the new DMs that they have, all the new comments. And they are always absolutely just blown away, surprised. And these people become celebrities. And one couple makes $100,000. And in the Hunger Games, when somebody wins, well, one, they get to live. So that's a great reward. But they also are given a mansion. And they are a champion. And they go from just a normal person, probably very poor person, to an idol, to a celebrity. And very similar results to those who go on the show and are viewed favorably, whether or not they win. But because we see so much of them all the time, they are very much rewarded with financial and social gain for just going on to the show and for performing in a way that the general audience approves of. And so I know to some might sound silly, and that's fine. Reality TV is serious and so unserious at the same time. But just observing this particular program, Love Island USA, I cannot help but see those comparisons between the violent Hunger Games and what I think is sometimes very socially violent show that is Love Island USA. Will I keep watching it? For now, yeah. Be involved with it and have part of my brain just watch for entertainment and part of my brain be so absolutely curious and just looking at things through a particular communication theory or sociological lens. Yes. It's just such an interesting experiment. I think it's closer to an experiment than maybe even reality TV, if I'm being honest. But we'll see how this season keeps going on. If you haven't locked in and watched it yet, I suggest that you do, just to get an idea of what I'm talking about. It's on Peacock streaming service with NBC. Until next time, stay safe out there. Don't be going on any of these shows, in my opinion, but maybe do. I don't know. Who am I to tell you what to do or not to do? Please subscribe, like this, share this, whatever platform you're on, the review system, the liking system, the recommending system. Just do that. I would appreciate that a lot. Till next week.